Sides, Perky, here's the deal. I know the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series is starting, but no matter who wins on the field, we all win when we choose Unleaded 88, okay?
Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Good morning. Welcome to Two Guys Named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams, joined as always by Chris Hassel. Want to thank our presenting sponsor, Fairway Meat and Grocery, for all they do for us. Also, we are in the Channel Seed Studios, and I want to give a shout out to Iowa Corn. They've been our partner of the month here during the month of September. It's a big month for them with the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series and the big football game, obviously. We appreciate them for supporting us here at Iowa Everywhere. Chris Hassel, what's going on down in the state of Florida? What are you wearing? Is that a Super Bowl shirt?
Yeah, you know what? It's you're gonna like this. Still got the tags on it.
Why would you take the tag off?
Part of me feels like in like 30 years, there's gonna be a market for Super Bowl shirts that still have the tags on them. This was a shirt that I got. I think this is last year's Super Bowl in Phoenix. I think so. I have all of these collared shirts like this that I've been given because I've worked the Super Bowl and, you know, CBS ones, and I just don't wear them because I don't have a place to. I don't wear them to work because I'm wearing a shirt and tie. And so I figured, you know, the podcast might be a good place for this. And look, you've already noticed. This is amazing. This is good stuff. Where have you been, by the way? You're 3 minutes late. People in the comments are all fired up. They said we're 3 minutes behind on our placenta talk.
Sorry. I have kid stuff, man. I wish that, Chris, it would stress you. I just know you well enough. Getting two kids off by yourself in the morning,
oh my God, don't even,
would stress you out so much. Like, I just know you. I'm sure there's dads and moms out there watching. At 8:30 every day, I feel like I have run a fucking marathon.
Yeah, what's worse, getting kids to bed or getting them out the door?
Out the door.
It's to bed for me.
Oh, wow, really? Okay, out the door for me. My 8-year-old is the slowest human being on the planet. And then
I can't stand slowness.
I'll just tell you, too, my 4-year-old, I love her. She's like a little mini extension of me, which is a giant pain in the ass. You do not want a 4-year-old female version of Chris Williams at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm telling you, it's a nightmare.
It's hard enough for me to just get my dog to the park each day before the podcast. In fact, today I didn't have time for that because I'm by myself. My wife's in Connecticut. I'm still fighting this cold. I've got no coffee at the house.
Still have a cold?
Yes.
Why didn't you just go to the grocery store and buy some coffee?
Well, I don't go to grocery stores. And so I had to go get the Starbucks. And then I had to get gas. And then I had to get some Quest
You did all
bars.
that this morning?
Yeah. And we didn't have time to go to the park, so my dog is sulking. But I'll take her after the program.
Man, yeah,
I got to mute here for a second. I got some lugs in my
This
throat.
is incredible that you're still sick. Although I had one of those that came through a couple weeks ago, and yeah, it was a 10-day thing.
Everybody at work is sick. Everybody. Like
a lot of
Amanda Garrett came back to
flus.
work yesterday. She said she was on the road getting ready to do a Kansas-Nevada game. And she got sick. Like, she came down, she started feeling bad like the day of the game, and they wouldn't let her do the game. They were worried it was, possibly COVID, so she couldn't do it. She went all the way out to Reno, Nevada.
Oh, my God.
Did all the prep work, and then day of the game gets sick and can't do it. It's brutal.
So she flies to Vegas and drives to Reno? Is that how that works?
No, I think you can fly into Reno.
Oh, do they have an
you
airport?
fly into, what is it, Dangle International? Lieutenant Dangle International in Reno.
Anyways, here we are.
High ride, no, I don't wear a mask on the plane. But I don't know. I just feel like I travel so much. You can only do so much, and a mask only does so much. Like, if I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick. And hopefully, since I got sick, I won't get sick for another 6 months.
You don't double mask on the plane? You're just sitting there gasping for air.
Double N95. So what is it? A double N95, that's a 190. I got the N190.
Do you remember traveling when it was required and everybody was just pissed? Because you had the people that were pissed that they had to wear a mask, and then you had the people that were pissed if you were fighting wearing the mask, and everybody was you'd have the old guys with the mask and it's got a middle finger, because they're just so pissed off that
I'd rather be naked.
I'd rather be dead than wearing this goddamn mask.
Yeah. Oh God.
I can't wait. There's gonna be so many great psychology books and stuff written about the last 10 years. At some point it's going to be phenomenal. Anyways, we have speaking of psychology, we got to talk about Iowa's offense.
Hey, you know what? I'm a little worried about Van Wink.
Really?
Why?
Yeah.
Hey, Van Wink, welcome to the program.
I think he's getting a little bit too big for his britches. After this week, after all the success he's had.
He had a huge week.
Oh, my God. He's the one who put together our Lou Holtz Ryan Day video, and he's the one that helped put together, along with Bloom, and I know you had a hand in this too, Williams, this Iowa pork producers purchase more ham and bacon, which has gone worldwide. I mean, I've gotten texts about it from people that had no idea that my buddies were even a part of this, because it's great. This is what people want. You give somebody a Lamborghini or whatever. People don't like that. That. Okay, that's cool for the player. This is what they want. They want stuff like this. This is
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Genius.
Ray Gun's got shirts out now too, which is pretty cool. It's taken on a new life.
That's pretty awesome.
It's cool for these guys. And Purchase and Moore got a sweet deal out of this.
They got a great deal.
They just had to kind of stand there and have a cool last name.
That's Purchase and Moore. It's you're going down the roster. It's a word, a word search. That works.
I was looking at basketball. And I told Bloom, you got to get Omaha Blue on the Omaha Steaks sponsorship.
Oh yeah,
you got steak and ham and bacon, and you got a whole campaign.
My gosh, yeah, it's.
So
I knew this would be big, because when Bloom was kicking it around, we were talking about it, and I was like, that's going to be a really big deal. Matt, did you have any idea it would go as viral as it did, though?
No.
Went crazy.
I kind of thought it would go.
You just never know.
That
it's pretty clear that was going to go locally viral.
Right, that's what I thought.
Locally, it was going to be a huge hit. You just never know nationally who's going to pick this up. But it seems like everybody did.
You see every once in a while with Sports Center will show a cool NIL deal or something, but like you said, Hassel, before, it's sometimes it's a car deal, a Lamborghini. Doesn't Prime's kid have a Lamborghini deal? I don't know.
Well,
but it's cool that this is.
The point I wanted to make, Matt, was what you and me were talking about last night, because Roman points this out, and Caitlin Clark had a sweet Nike promo that came out yesterday. Think about the money spent on that.
Oh my God.
Compared to this pork one.
And that's cool. It's awesome. It's awesome. And Caitlin Clark's probably going to get her own line of shoes.
She's going to get her own shoe deal. Yeah.
But this is what this purchase more ham and bacon. I mean, that's what you envision when you originally thought of NIL and what could be possible. And we've had some other things like the Coldest Crawford put together that commercial when he was at Nebraska for if you want to be the coldest, you go with so and so air conditioning.
Yeah, that was great.
But I want to make sure we're balanced here. Bloom's riding high. Van Wink's riding high. I got a message from a listener on Twitter about the Amish benches, the Bloom Signature Series.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm not going to say who sent this, but here's what he sent me in a DM.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Dude, the guy peddling the We Will Collective benches just stopped by. He was asking if I had room to store 7 of these effing things. The entire time, he's giving me the pitch on the Amish-made 20-year warranty. All I can hear in the back of my head is you making fun of me having to sit through this deal. I told him we didn't have room, even though we did. He may be on his way to your place next.
Okay, again, here's my question. Just because the Amish make them gives it a 20-year warranty, what if it's a non-Amish bench? Can't you have a 20-year warranty? Can't the craftsmanship be just as good? Why does it have to be made by Amish?
Here's my issue with it. If it's built by the Amish, it shouldn't need a warranty because it's never going to have any issues. The Amish put that thing together so well that you don't need a warranty. That should be the pitch. No warranty. Get out of here.
What if
it's
you
gonna
don't
be fine.
believe? What if you don't believe in what the Amish believe in, but you still handcraft it and you hand make it just like the Amish do? But it's not. It doesn't have that Amish, label on it. Do you not get the? Do you not get the warranty?
I'm
These
still
Amish,
wondering,
man,
like,
they've got it great. They're doing a great
job. Is this a joke? Like, is this just like for publicity?
What? The bench?
These benches, yeah.
No, they're trying to sell them.
No way.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Has anyone bought one yet?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
And where does the money go? Does it just go right into Bloom's pocket?
We will, baby.
Or does it go to the Amish?
It goes to the kickers.
Look, all the great stuff that We Will has done.
Oh, it's on sale.
Price slash. Okay, so it's down from about $1,900 to $1,700. They took $200 off the price.
Well, I know why they're not.
Signature off of it.
I know why it's not selling, because they don't have Amish in the headline. God, hassle hawking up loogies during the one.
Look at this. Wait, look at that. 4 interest-free payments of what? $424. What? Who in there? Come on. Like, what are we doing here?
I love this. Seth goes, how do you become Amish? Can anyone just decide that they're Amish? That's a great question.
You got to be born into it, right?
I don't know.
Can
like,
you
let's say, like, Van Winkle just wakes up tomorrow because he's such a multimedia superstar. He's creating all these viral videos. And Matt's just like, you know what? Screw it. I can't handle this anymore. I can't handle the publicity. I don't want the notifications. I'm going to become Amish.
I just want to craft furniture for the We Will Collective. I don't think it works that way. I think you have to be born into it or marry into it.
Be careful what you ask for, Chris. People can just find your address on the internet.
I was talking to my dad last night, and he just had so many questions about the meat box that the listener sent.
Brian's a great guy. He stopped by my tailgate.
He was like, "What do you mean? He just sent you? I just don't understand this. A listener just sent you $600 of meat?"
Yeah, it's what happens when you're not a dick to people, Don.
Man, he's been really getting into it with your dad.
I know he has.
He's all fired up because he's got plantar fasciitis and he can't walk the dogs anymore. He used to walk the dogs like 5 miles a day. Now he's cooped up in the house all day. He's got nothing to do.
Plantar fasciitis?
Yeah, I know. I just added the tar.
Oh, okay.
Plantar.
Well, you know how I tend to mispronounce words. I'm like, have I been saying that wrong my whole life?
It's plantar fasciitis, yeah. And
all right.
So he's got that, and he's just Iowa can't score points. The Bears are the worst team in the NFL. It's a tough time for my dad right now.
I wanted to take the Bears in our Circa Millions this week. Just a total sicko game.
You can't. And I think
plus 3.5 at home.
I know, but I feel like the Broncos, even though they just gave up 70, I think they're going to bounce back.
All right. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. And again, I thank the Iowa Corn. A lot of guys out there starting their harvest. So good luck to all of you coming up this weekend.
Speaking of farmers, did you see the real live placenta video?
I did. Yeah. Matt, do you have that video that the guy sent us? My buddy Adam, good dude, of the cow eating the placenta. We apparently don't have the video, but thanks to Adam.
Oh, big surprise. Yeah, Van Wink didn't pull the video.
There it is. Yeah, because he's too busy making these we will things. Oh, yeah, look at that cow just licking up and down that placenta. This is real life from my buddy Adam up in northwest Iowa.
That cow just had a calf. Calf's laying there, and mama cow is just gorging herself on the placenta.
And then she caught him photographing her.
Yeah. Hey.
And she's pissed. We got to really. Why is this Iowa? Is it okay? I think Iowa Michigan State's kind of interesting. I didn't at the beginning of the week, but the more I've looked into it, it's like, here's why it's interesting. Like Iowa better figure it out, because if you lose or play with this team, Chris, then it's a little more of a concern than just being blown out by Penn State.
Right? If they were to somehow lose this game, all hell breaks loose. I don't see it. I don't
think
see
so
it, Chris.
either. But
you look at what this team has done since the Mel Tucker suspension and now firing. They haven't even reached 10 points. They've had 2 home games and they've been blown out in both games. Washington went in there, beat them like 41-7. Then Maryland went in there, beat them like 35-9. I mean, they're terrible. They might be the worst team in the Big Ten. And now they're coming on the road. Tucker officially fired. Players can do whatever the hell they want. They can go into the portal right now if they want. I would be more scared when we talked about this on the podcast leading up to, I picked Washington, Michigan State as one of the games I was interested in watching that week, one of my top 3 games, because I'm always interested in how teams respond in a scenario like that, and you just never know. Like, I would have been worried if I was Washington, and they went in and just slapped them 41-7. So, I mean, it's not like this Mel Tucker thing just happened. The official firing just happened, but this thing happened weeks ago, and they've been god-awful since it happened.
The only concern I would have if I'm Iowa, and I'm not talking about Iowa here, D'Antonio's back, and, if Michigan State, if these guys, and I wouldn't blame them if they don't, with all they've been through, if they have any pride at all, like the going back on the road, one last stand. Don't you think
if they had any pride at all, they wouldn't have got their ass kicked the last 2 games?
Probably, yeah. You're right.
And maybe it's not pride. Maybe it's just they suck. I mean, they suck.
Well, and it's like, it's hard. Like, it's hard to win at this level. And when you don't have consistency at the leadership position, that's really difficult. Like, it's not like Michigan State's going out there and out-talenting people, because they're not. Mm-hmm. That's where it's a buzzword and it's thrown around way too much, but the whole culture thing, and it's like, these guys haven't had any consistency at all, and they're probably a bottom-tier talent team in the league. So that's really freaking hard to go out there, and Washington might be one of the top 5 teams in college football this year.
Washington's really good.
I think
Maryland, I don't know. I mean, Maryland.
They've got skill guys
at Michigan State. They do have. Maryland has skill guys. Maryland has talent, but should they be able to go in and beat Michigan State by 25 on their home field? What's the line at now? I mean, that's the line
12.5.
God, I mean,
12.5 on Circa this morning. I looked,
and the total's 36.5.
I would take the under because, I don't know about that. Hear me out. Michigan State, they are ranked 118th nationally in scoring offense going into this. What is Iowa? Like, they got to be.
They're right around there.
Yeah,
they're somewhere in the 120s.
So I guess my Michigan State, not exactly electric on defense either, 68th.
But listen, Williams, someone pointed out to Kirk Ferentz in the press conference that they haven't been targeting their receivers. And he said that's something that they're going to look at, something that they should look at. 33% of the time when Iowa passes the ball, it's intended for a wide receiver. That is last by a wide margin in the country.
How many to this Caleb Brown? When is this guy going to get a catch?
Oh, my God. And then McNamara was asked about that.
Oh.
And, I don't know what he can say, honestly. But to say, look, I'm not the one calling the plays. Look, I'm not the guy, deciding what happens. I'm just the quarterback. Take a listen.
I mean, I'm just a quarterback. I'm not calling the plays or doing any of that. That's not my decision. I'm just going to run the play as fit, and I'm going to throw it to the open guy.
Okay, so that tells me, one, they're calling plays where the primary pass catchers are tight ends or running backs, or he doesn't have enough time to wait for the wide receiver routes to open up, or the wide receivers just aren't getting open. And I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
I'm going to go with the coaching. Because
you really think they're calling these plays in the primary routes are for tight ends, and like there's not even an option to look for a receiver?
I'm going off of history. When's the last time Iowa's had wide receivers that mattered?
That matter? I mean,
seriously.
The last time Iowa's had actual playmakers at wide receiver was 2010.
Yeah, that's over a decade
2010.
Ago.
DJ
so why
Cade,
would we,
Marvin McNabb.
in this scenario, blame anything other than the coaching staff?
Yeah.
Like, what's different now?
But, I mean, it sounds so much different now coming from Cade. Like, that soundbite, after everything he said in the offseason, after everything that was coming out in the offseason, and Cade originally saying, oh, yeah, think we're going to suck. We love that. We're going to, And now, I mean, that soundbite, he makes it sound like his hands are tied behind his back. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the total opposite of what he was saying this summer.
I mean, the
like,
leading
seriously,
pass
think
catcher,
about if you're those transfer wide receivers. My God. Like, how pissed off are you right now? And I don't even care about, like, look at the target number. Like, catches are they're not being targeted.
Yeah. And I don't know if they're open. I don't know if they're open enough. And I don't know if McNamara is getting enough time. He definitely wasn't getting enough time against Penn State. We knew that was going to happen. They were going to be all over his ass. That's just a really good team. Now, the rest of the way, they're not playing really good teams. Toughest games at Wisconsin. Every other game Iowa might be favored in. So you're going to have opportunities. Like,
that's what makes
the schedule
this
is so bad.
With your 9-3 or 10-2, and then nothing's changed.
Just like I said before the season, I predicted 9-3, and I said that fans will be disappointed. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to go 9-3. They're going to just miss going to the Big Ten championship game, which is fine because they would get their ass handed to them in a coffee can. But because I think they'll lose Wisconsin. So I think they'll handle Michigan State and Purdue. They're going to lose Wisconsin, which effectively will take them out of the race already. As long as Wisconsin doesn't trip up. I mean, they're already a game behind Wisconsin. You lose to Wisconsin, you're effectively 2.5 games behind them.
Matt, can you pull up Wisconsin's schedule real quick?
So I think
their schedule sucks too, right? Like theirs is just as bad.
Yes, they do still have to, like, they haven't played their really tough game yet. They still have to play Ohio State.
Okay.
But they have, the only game they have before Iowa is home against Rutgers, which they'll win.
Illinois is tricky.
Maybe, but Illinois has been bad. They go at Indiana, home against Northwestern, home against Nebraska, at Minnesota. I think Wisconsin probably loses 2 games, and they're going to if they beat Iowa head-to-head, that's it. I mean, that's it right there. If Iowa loses to Wisconsin, the division race is over on October 14th. But at this point, like, do we even want to see it? Do we even care? That's what sucks about this whole thing, and where Iowa's been these last few years is these games like this week. They're not that interesting because Michigan State's terrible. And what's the end game? What is the best case scenario for Iowa the rest of the way? You win against Wisconsin, you win the division, and then you have to go play Penn State or Michigan or Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game?
Silver lining, this is the last year of this.
Yeah, thank God. I'm sick of it.
You trot this crap out there in like a normal schedule going forward, you're
my
5-7,
God.
6-6.
Yeah. it is amazing the difference the schedule has made for Iowa. It really is. And I think, I said this a couple of shows ago, I think the Big Ten West has held Iowa back because Kirk Ferentz knows that he can win 9-10 games by playing this way, by not having an offense. You can still do it. Like, they're still going to win. They're still going to win 9 or 10 games. And they're this bad offensively. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to be able to do that starting next year. You bring Oregon and Washington and USC into the mix. Oh, my God.
And there's just no West. Like, you might get Michigan. You might get,
right.
Like, just depends on where the schedule lies.
And I think that's going to be a good thing because it just doesn't interest me playing a schedule like this because it's not challenging. It's just a bunch of bad teams. And what does that prove? We already know Iowa's already there. Like, Iowa's already an 8-9 win program against teams like this. We know it. The biggest thing this offseason was that next step. McNamara's coming in, All's coming in. We're going to take that next step. We're going to compete against the big boys. You had one chance on the schedule, and that's at Penn State to show it. And boy, you showed it all right. Showed that you're even worse. So I know I sound like a curmudgeon, and I hate that. I hate that
I just think it's from being an Iowa State fan, it's fascinating to me. Like, I mean, sign me up for 9 wins, man.
Well,
like,
that's also part of the problem is that you do have fans that say, look, Iowa State would kill for a 9 or 10 win season. Well, Iowa State doesn't have this kind of schedule, and it hasn't always been like this.
No,
like this is the weakest schedule I think Iowa has ever played from start to finish. I'm not saying to this point. Like, you look at the schedule, the strength of schedule right now, and Iowa's like in the top 40 because they played a Power 5 team in Iowa State, and they've already played a top 5 team in the country. And it was this, Drew brings up 2015. It's kind of the same thing for me, and why I didn't really enjoy 2015 is because I knew Iowa wasn't that good. It was a product of the schedule. And yeah, they won every game they had, but we saw who Iowa was when they had to go play in the Rose Bowl. And we saw what Michigan State beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. They were that close to the playoff. What happened to Michigan State? They got beat by 30 plus in the playoff. It's just the level, the leap that Iowa has to make is wide. And
we may have comment of the year.
What?
Nicholas is watching on Facebook.
Oh, Nicholas has
rumors
been
are
firing
circulating
off some crazy ones today
that Kirk Ferentz was spotted at Del Boca Vista looking for property. Seinfeld reference. God bless y'all. We welcome any and all Seinfeld references here on Two Guys Named Chris. We are presented, as always, by Fairway Meat and Grocery. I'm smoking ribs on Saturday. Clones don't kick off till 6.
Yeah, it's all my games at night. The Iowa games at night. The Iowa State
everything's
games at night. I hate that. I'm not going to be able to see either game live.
We are
Notre Dame at Duke.
Let's do Iowa State here, and then we'll do our kitchen refresh segment where we each have a take on the Hawks and the Clones. Hey, I got kitchen refresh. They're coming to do a consulting on my kitchen tomorrow, believe it or not.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, come to town.
I wish I could say I was excited for you, but I'm not because I'm more pissed off about it than anything.
Shut up.
I am.
Well, don't live in Florida. You could live in Iowa and kitchen refresh Iowa and come to your house, but you don't. You choose to live down there with the elitists.
Hassel, check your mailbox next couple days. Something's coming for you.
Am I getting a kitchen?
Not a kitchen.
A kitchen in the mailbox?
No surprise.
Really? Is it more ham and bacon?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Is it a We Will Collective Signature Series Amish glider?
So Iowa State is a 20-point underdog at Oklahoma. I have my brain. I could talk for 2 hours about this game, Chris. A little bit scary for me. Iowa State is flying high. Oklahoma, really good defensively. Like this looks like a Brent Venables defense, finally.
Mm-hmm. But the offense hasn't been there.
Yeah, offense hasn't been there. Oklahoma has only given up 3 touchdowns in 4 games. That ranks second nationally. So really a good test for Iowa State here. The biggest thing for me, friend, is that...
Did you just call me friend?
Yep. I did.
What?
I meant to say my friend. I'm tired. Just back off. My friend, the biggest thing for me is, Iowa State's played well in Norman under Campbell, but they've never had a team this young there. And a night game in Norman, I'm really curious and cautious about how optimistic I can be with Iowa State going into this one. Last week gave me a sense of optimism with the offense, but I also know that, man, Oklahoma State's really down. I think this could be a game. I'm really hoping Iowa State can keep it within like 14, 17 points, build off of it, score some, right, where you can not feel like crap about yourself getting on that plane, and then it's on next week when TCU comes to town. That's kind of where I'm at with the Cyclones.
All right. I can launch right into my kitchen refresh here.
Yes.
With my take on the Cyclones. I just feel like this is house money week for Iowa State. No one expects anything. You could go in there, lose by 28, and it's really not going to change many minds. Everything to gain. Sooners have the Red River rivalry coming up. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be looking ahead because it is a night game and, they haven't been a world beater of late. But I think this is a great opportunity for Iowa State because you have nothing to lose. Like, you just won your first Big 12 game. Rocco Beck's looking really good. You've already had your horrible loss. I don't think what happens on Saturday, any kind of a loss, I don't think any kind of a loss on Saturday is really going to set the fan base back. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to just play, maybe throw in some trick plays. Are you smelling your eyelashes?
No, I was picking one out.
You picked your eyelash, and then you went...
No, I didn't.
You did. Van Wyck, we need to start getting like a DVR on this thing so you can play it back.
I wouldn't give him too much crap. You were just
You're the most,
talking a loogie into a napkin.
Yeah, I finish a point.
I'm trying. I'm talking, and you're over there picking your eyelash.
I had a loose eyelash, and it was bothering me, and I picked it out.
Anywho, I'm just saying, I think that there's no expectations this week from Iowa State fans. That's my take, and I think that's a great spot to be in. And there's more opportunity to make fans feel good going into the next game than to set anything back. Like, there was so much to lose against Ohio, everything to lose. Like, you had to win that game. You had to win it. You didn't. It was horrible. Even if you would have won the game, it wouldn't have been that great. This is totally different.
I just hope that Campbell stays true with this new offensive mentality.
Mike says he's gonna create the gif of you smelling your eyelash, so we'll have that to look forward
Whatever.
to. You did it.
You can find worse things.
You sick son of a bitch. You should be on that MTV. What was that MTV show where people did crazy things? Like, there was this one girl,
the woman that ate her hair.
Yeah, with pulling out her hair and eating the follicle.
This is the second time in the history of Two Guys Named Chris that you've brought up that episode.
It's really stuck with me.
Who's the sick son of a bitch now? You sit around thinking about that.
Well, you're the one smelling your eyelash.
Shut up. What? See, you keep interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
And then I can't finish my points.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I hope Campbell doesn't revert back to, go out there and there's 100,000 people and you've got all these freshmen playing on offense and be like, it's easier just to run the ball and punt.
Oh, God.
I just hope they don't
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, do the opposite of that.
Yes.
There's nothing you need to do to try to, geez, let's keep this game close. Let's make sure we don't lose by 50. No, come on.
Oklahoma's a top 10 rush defense. You ain't going to run the ball on this team.
No.
I'm telling you that right now. You're not going to
sling that sucker around. Sling it around. Let your defense, this is not a good offense, okay? It's not. They've got talent. They're always going to have more talent than Iowa State. This is an opportunity. Defense, prove that you are as good as last season and as the last couple of years, because defense was not good against Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State has a better offense than Oklahoma. Van Wink, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, look back at 2017, Williams.
Yeah.
It's a very similar setup. They were 2-2 going into this game, coming off a loss. I mean, it's a little different, but they're 2-2, a loss to Texas.
Oh, that was the Jacob Park.
That was the Bugle game, right?
You're right, and I've heard this a couple times this week, and I don't disagree, Matt, with the setup. It's just like that team had a bunch of like juniors and seniors on it. Like this is. I mean, you look up and down Iowa State's. It's freshmen and sophomores. Like I don't see it. I hope I'm wrong.
But probably a better defense than 2017.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. Definitely a better defense. But who knows? I definitely think Rocco Becht is better than Kyle Kempt was, even now already. But he's not throwing to Alan Lazard, right? Like you don't have Hakeem Butler walking through the door,
Right.
What do they have? David Montgomery on that team, right? Like, so it's just, I don't know. Like, I see it. The setup, you're right. The one good thing for Iowa State is that Oklahoma gets Texas next week. It's a great spot.
Yes.
Definitely love seeing that.
I wouldn't put it past them to maybe do some things, Oklahoma that is, to make Texas think. Whether that's holding some plays back, whether that's showing some things on tape to make Texas think. I wouldn't put that past them in this game. Because they're not taking this game as seriously as the Texas game. They're just not.
No, they're human beings.
I mean, they see Iowa State they're back to Iowa State. This is the last time we're playing them. We've lost to them, 7 times ever? Did they play last year? Did Venables play?
They did. That was a bad turnover game. Iowa State would have been right in the game, but they had like 3 turnovers, and I think Iowa State outgained Oklahoma in that game. It was one of those maddening ones from that season. How many Deckers threw how many picks in that one, Matt? It wasn't good. I think he had 2 bad picks, and then they had a fumble, and they lost by 14. 3 interceptions. There you go.
Threw the ball 57 times. Jeez. You know what?
Averaging,
That's what I want to see. I want to see that from Becht. If Becht throws the ball 57 times, I like Iowa State's chances.
This is phenomenal. Mike says he has an air raid siren in his Amazon cart. Buy that shit and take it to Jack Trice next week, Mike.
Is that going to be the new thing?
Buy it.
The air raid sirens?
I've had a lot of people. People are asking me, Chris. People are talking about bringing air raid sirens to Jack Trice next week.
Next week's going to be fun. Got the Jack
You can't
Trice
allow
throwbacks
that to be in the
too.
stadium. You can't allow that.
No,
they don't even sell beer. You think they're going to let somebody bring in an air raid siren?
I told this to Bloom over the weekend. That's how it started with Leach. That's how the name came.
What?
At Valdosta State, when Mummy and Leach were there, one of the players' dads was like an old Army vet or like whatever, and he had an air raid siren, and he started bringing it to games. And then they banned him from bringing it to games, so the guy would set up across the street, and every time Valdosta State would score, he would just play this air raid siren.
Really?
Yeah. There you go, a little air raid history for you. My kitchen refresh segment, again, they're coming to do my consult tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that. Getting a new look to the kitchen.
Keep rubbing it in.
I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm so tired of your negativity. Iowa fans, just enjoy it.
Enjoy what?
Just enjoy the win tomorrow or Saturday.
Williams, it's
like you're going to go 9-3, 10-2 for probably the last time in a while. Okay, just enjoy it, because there's going to be a point in 4 years when you're looking back at this era and be like, man, we won 9 games every year.
Yes, but
just enjoy it.
That's not the way I look back on 2015. I don't look back on it like, wow, that was amazing. I look back.
You went
on
undefeated.
They weren't that good because they didn't.
Who
have
gives
to
a
play
shit?
anybody.
You went undefeated. Just
Williams,
take it.
I
you
like
couldn't control it.
I like, unlike you, I like competition. I like beating I like playing the best. I like beating the best. And Iowa can't do that.
Something tells me if it keeps up like this, you're going to be getting beat by the best a lot. So enjoy beating up on these teams while you can.
I want a proper measuring stick. And this schedule is not a measuring stick. It's not a proper
you got that last
stick.
week, so go back down to your level now, okay?
I am, and that's what I'm saying. I am at that level.
Just enjoy it. You've got one more year of this, and then you worry about it. I personally don't know. What would you think? What are the chances Kirk Ferentz is the coach next year? Honestly. Is it 60-40? What will we put it at right now?
I would put it at 75% he's back next year.
Okay. A little higher than me, but yeah.
And that's higher than I would have gone earlier this season because I have no inside information. None.
Neither
I'm
of us
basing it
do.
off of if Kirk Ferentz retires after this season, what does that mean for Brian Ferentz? The only way Brian Ferentz keeps getting that kind of paycheck, gets to be in that kind of position, is if Kirk Ferentz stays. If he leaves, that effectively ends Brian Ferentz's career. Like, he will have to go to the very bottom. Like, maybe he can come on as some kind of, analyst behind the scenes for the Patriots or at some other program where he doesn't really have a hand in anything and he's making, $100,000 a year or whatever. I really do think that has to weigh into Kirk Ferentz's decision, and that might keep him at Iowa longer to elongate Brian Ferentz's career. It's his son. Like, what wouldn't you do for your child?
Wipe Elise's ass all the time, multiple times a day.
I mean, you're late to the podcast for your children. The least Kirk Ferentz can do is extend his son's career. Honestly.
All I'm saying is, and I somewhat agree with Isaac here, I wouldn't go this far because never is strong. Like, I never thought that Clemson would be where it is right now. He says Iowa's never going to be Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State. Enjoy winning all these games. I think you can have seasons like that. I don't think Iowa can be like this perennial power.
No.
Like those schools.
But Kirk Ferentz used to regularly beat the best teams in the conference. And at the very least, always compete with these teams. The first 15 years of the Kirk Ferentz tenure, more like 20 years, they rarely ever got embarrassed in a game. Like, it was once in a blue moon. It was a random...
Yeah, times have changed.
You go to Arizona State on the West Coast in a non-conference game, and you just have a stinker. Now it's every time they're playing a really good team. It's every time. And it's not like they're losing by 14. I mean,
I'm just saying...
These are national embarrassments.
Enjoy the wins. Just enjoy the wins. As much as you can. That's my kitchen refresh.
I'm
segment.
a glass half empty guy. I just am. I'm a realist. I'm sorry.
I'm an Iowa State fan, okay? It's like, I always reference it, but it was the year 2 years ago. My last year on KXNO, and y'all were 10-2, and it was like a goddamn funeral every Monday. It's like, how do you people wake up in the morning? Like, you're so negative.
Williams, so that year they rose to number 2 in the country. And then
you were never the second best team in the country.
No.
Everybody knew that.
But then they totally fell apart, got smoked at home by Purdue, a Purdue team that wasn't that good, and limped the rest of the way home. And then what happened in the Big Ten championship game? You get absolutely embarrassed again on a national stage by Michigan.
You're not at that level, but you can play with these teams. Just beat them up while you can. I'm telling you, next year, you got to play Lincoln Riley. You got to, just enjoy it while you can. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Just sit back and have a cocktail and enjoy beating the shit out of this bad Michigan State team.
I don't enjoy.
And then you call into Ross and Travis after the game and bitch to them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I maybe, Iowa reels off a few wins in a row and the offense starts to look better, and I feel
it's going to look better. I promise you it will look better on Saturday.
It's going to look better than it did against Penn State, but
it will look
let's
better.
Be honest. Did it look good the first 3 weeks of the season with those wins? No.
Well, and this is where I'm at with Iowa
I didn't hold
State.
it against them because they were winning the games.
Oklahoma State sucks. It's the worst team in the Big 12. That was really fun. Everybody had a really good time on Saturday. But I'm not all in on this going into Norman. Let's wait and see.
You're also Iowa State. You have different expectations than Iowa does. You just do. It's different
because somehow you
played a road game at Ohio and lost.
You guys expect to go. What are your expectations if 10-2 isn't good enough as an Iowa?
No. So it's not that 10-2 isn't good enough. It's not. It's my expectation. Here's what I want from Iowa. I want them to be able to look like they belong on the same field with a Penn State, with a Michigan, with an Ohio State. I'm not asking for a Big Ten championship. I'm not. I'm asking for some good wins. Okay? Give me some good wins.
It is.
Give me a win against a good team.
There is a psychological aspect of this too, how much weight offense carries. Because look at last week with Iowa State. We all go out to the parking lot after air raid.
It's more fun.
You're one of the worst defensive performances in the last 5 years by them.
That reminds me. I just had a dream. This is really weird. I just remember this. I had a dream that I was somewhere with the McCaffreys.
Oh my God.
Fran, Margaret,
what a nightmare.
And
did you wake up in cold sweats?
Fran, Margaret.
Was Fran yelling at you?
It was one of the sons, and I said, you know what? You guys might not win every game, but at least it's fun to watch. At least you guys are going up and down the floor. At least Fran's yelling at the officials. At least it's interesting. Last week, the Iowa football game was not interesting at all, and they win more than you guys.
I'm sure that went over.
But you know what? You guys, and they're like, I really appreciate that, Chris.
Okay, we clearly know it was a dream.
It was a dream. It was.
If it was that cordial between you and the McCaffreys, then I'm sure it was a dream. Connor's in the background flipping you off,
strangling me with a placenta.
Nicholas says it's like an episode of Bizarro World from Seinfeld.
Yeah. That's really weird that
I was watching one the other night. We'll get into our top 3 games. We got to get moving.
Wow.
Where Kramer
to get to.
fell asleep on the roof, buttering his skin.
Oh, yeah.
And Newman wanted to eat him. That doesn't ever get old. That's good stuff. All right, top 3 games of the weekend. We got to hustle here. Hassel,
Okay.
you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Sure.
Van Wink, pull it up. All right. Michigan at Nebraska. Number 2 Michigan, 17-point favorite at Nebraska. I don't know why. I just feel like this could be an interesting game. I feel like
I'm
this
with
could
you,
be
bro.
tighter than we think.
I'm with you.
Nebraska has played a tougher schedule than Michigan. Michigan has not looked very good. They haven't. They've won every game, but how have they looked? Not very good. I mean, maybe this is the game that they finally break out. But I just have a feeling. That this could be interesting going to the fourth quarter. So that's one of my 3 games. Up next, this matchup is always fun. Texas A&M, Arkansas. And I think they're playing this at Jerry World again. They usually do. Texas A&M is favored by 6.5. Wegman got knocked out last week, but they notched a win over Auburn. You go back, you look at this series, and it's just so many overtime games, just wild finishes. It's always interesting when A&M and Arkansas come together. And then my number 1 game is the game I'm going to be at. Notre Dame at Duke.
Notre Dame
coming off, I think it's one of the most heartbreaking losses in Notre Dame history. It really is. How are they going to respond after they only had 10 guys on the field on the last 2 plays of the game in a loss to Ohio State, a game that you had? You had that game. Notre
Lou
Dame.
Holtz is still pissed off.
Notre Dame. Now they got to go to Duke, and the place is sold out. I know you didn't believe it, but they only have 40,000 seats.
I'm fired up for you. I like these cool that's why I'm psyched for Friday night's game with Utah and Oregon. I like these towns that aren't football powerhouses when they get all amped up like you're going to get in Durham. Mr. Holtz is here. Is he going to give us some commentary on Notre Dame at Duke?
So I'm going to be in the broadcast booth with Mike Golick Jr., and it's going to be a Notre Dame national broadcast on Learfield College football Saturday night. I tell you what, we would have won that game last week had we had more than 10 players on the field. We're playing this program this week. We don't even need an 11th man on the field. We could play the whole game with 10 players on the field. This is Duke football. Are you kidding me? They didn't even have a football program when I was the head coach. They didn't. But this is what this is, okay? This is touchdown Jesus versus the devil. This is a fight for our eternal souls. And Notre Dame isn't going to back down because we're going to be more physical than the devil. Jesus Christ was way more physical than the devil. What have you ever seen the devil do physically? You just see pictures of him, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, he was carrying that cross. I mean, my God, he was touching people and curing blindness and all that. What the hell has the devil ever done? He ain't done shit.
So, Lou, you're doing play-by-play on Saturday night?
Yes. It's going to be me and Mike Golick in the booth, and I'm going to call those plays. There's an I formation backfield. Here's the snap. Hartman drops back to pass. He throws that thing down the field. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a catch. What a fucking catch, man. Inside the 20, that's a touchdown. Notre Dame. Let's celebrate with some placenta steak.
I got a lot of people saying the only thing that our skit was missing was Lou Holtz saying placenta.
And just spitting
there
all
it is.
over the camera.
You know what? When we had our children, Skip and everybody else, the doctor wouldn't even let us in the delivery room. Now you got these kids out there. They're in there. They're down there. It's like they're waiting for a football to come out so they can catch it before it hits the ground. That thing squirts out. My God, my grandson just had a kid. He had that thing squirt out on him. He bit the umbilical cord. He chopped that placenta up right away. I mean, this is crazy stuff these days.
All right, that's enough.
Is that Golick
That's
Jr.?
Golick.
It is.
Look at
Wow,
that.
look at, man. He's lost a
good-looking
lot of weight.
guy. All right, there's Hassel's 3 games of the week. Dr. Lou. Real quick, the best thing ESPN's ever done in the illustrious history of ESPN, the Dr. Lou segment. Oh, my God. When he'd
Is that
go
when
up
he
and
would
give
give the pep talks to the teams before the
Dr.
game?
Lou! Remember, and he would act like he was the coach of the team
Yes.
pregame. Oh, my God. And then they did that, night court thing with him and Mark May. I loved Lou Holtz. That was in the, prime era, man, where that was before, the NFL he was in the booth for a while. Do you remember that? He was on the Thursday night broadcast. Holtz was. Oh, my God.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember all the Saturday stuff in studio.
I loved it. I'm here to be entertained. Lou Holtz entertains me. We need more Lou Holtz. Even it.
Are you,
The doctor will see you now.
I'm sure you're asking, what qualifications do I have to be called doctor? Well, I did graduate in the lower half of my high school class, and it was a rather stupid class overall. I have written 3 New York Times bestseller. The only person in the world who's written more books than he's read. I have 4 honorary doctorate degree, and my mother loves me. With those qualifications, let's go to...
I love this guy. Do you think I could get him on CW Pod and do a sit down with him? Do you think I could get him?
I bet you could.
See if Golick has a connection for me.
You definitely could have a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah,
now
before
I
all of
feel
this.
like he's back. Everybody wants him now. McAfee should have him on every single week.
Yeah, it should be
And he should pick a
ongoing.
team to just bury. Pick a team to go after and bury, and that would be a great segment.
I love it. It's so good. I loved his comeback too.
Your Ryan Day was incredible, by the way. the makeup that you had, God, that was funny.
Well, the editing to that, Matt, I give Matt most of the credit for that whole thing because you have to just us doing that's one thing. You got to make it look good. Dude, that thing has gone nuts too. We've gotten well over 1 million views across all of social media, and it started getting tossed around by Ohio State fans.
Lou Holtz like the man of the apology. Get that soft ass Ryan Day. Hey, my kids and my football program.
No, we're not going to sit through this whole thing, are we? We can't do that.
No, I got to get to my top 3. Good job on that, Matt.
Hey, what is Nick asking if I color my hair? What are you talking about? I don't color my hair. I've got grays in here, man. I've got a little salt and pepper going on.
Just shave it all off, buddy. I got Utah at Oregon State. I mean, this one speaks for itself. 2 top 25 teams, 2 undefeateds.
And it's on Friday.
Yep, Friday night, standalone. And this is there's actually, I think, BYU and Cincinnati play, so there's a Big 12 game on Friday night, too. Weird saying Big 12, but this is, I mean, Utah's looking at like a playoff contender if they can win this, but they're a 3-point favorite.
And they haven't even had Cam Rising yet. Wait, is that line right? I thought Oregon State is favored, right?
Are you sure? I thought
as of yesterday, Oregon State was a 3-point favorite.
Okay,
right.
Matt will double. Okay,
it's 3.5 now.
It's 3.5. Oregon State. Don't know yet if Cam Rising is going to come back and play. That's the scary thing. Like Utah's been kicking everybody's ass without Cam Rising.
It was one of my favorite bets in the preseason was their over. It's looking sweet
what was
right
it at?
now. 8.5.
Yeah, they're going over.
Kansas at Texas. I'm on the rec. I think Texas is going to blow them out, but what if they don't? This is one of those deals where like everybody's kind of anointed Texas and Oklahoma at the top of the Big 12. What if they don't? Right? Like
I'm surprised the line is as big as it is.
Well, Bama hasn't been great. You start to look at Texas hangs around with Wyoming. Baylor sucks.
That's what I'm saying. I thought this would be more like a 13.5. Instead, it was 17. Now 16.5.
Yeah,
it's a lot of points.
Just interesting.
But that tells
me
that the point spread tells me that Texas may just blow them out.
I would agree. And then LSU at Ole Miss, and the big thing here is LSU already has a loss. Losing this game, Chris, would have essentially knocked them out of the college football playoff, I would think.
I disagree.
Interesting. Okay, well,
I think they could lose this game.
The SEC's just not as good this year. That's the thing.
But hear me out.
Okay.
The one loss is non-conference. They're already 2-0 in the SEC. Lose this game, and they still could win out, win the division, go and play Georgia in the SEC championship game. If you win that, if you're 11-2 as the SEC champion, you're in.
Okay.
Now, if they lose this game, I don't see any way they win the rest of them. I mean, you lose to Ole Miss, no.
Huge
I'm just saying,
rivalry.
I don't think it would.
I've been to this game.
Have you really?
Oxford.
You've been to LSU Ole Miss?
Yeah, in Oxford before.
In the Grove?
Yeah.
How'd you?
Yeah, I went to this.
Why?
Me and buddies like to just do a random college football trip when we can, and this game is a huge rivalry. They hate LSU like they hate Mississippi State there. Yeah.
And coming off a stinker last week, a lot of people thought, me included, that Ole Miss was going to beat Alabama. Didn't happen.
So massive game there for that Ole Miss team. And again, I just think that SEC, like their non-conference strength is down. Like
SEC's definitely down.
So
there's no question about it.
There's just less margin for error for these 2-loss SEC teams to get into the playoff. Do you have any?
But if you win the SEC with 2 losses, you're getting in.
Do you have any opinion on, real quick, USC Colorado? I feel like Colorado could cover this. I feel like it's a better matchup for them than Oregon was, but
I agree with you on that because Oregon is just much more complete than USC.
Yes.
USC does not have a defense. Like Colorado can score in this game, and they could not last week. They just had no chance. So I think they could put up some points, but God, Caleb Williams is just going to tear them apart.
I would agree. And that USC offense, for as bad as the defense is just a blast to watch. I love watching them play. All right, let's do our Circa picks for the weekend. For our Survivor, this was the easiest choice we have made. We are one of like 2,000 teams left, Chris, in Circa Survivor. Like 6,000, 7,000.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're
going with the
right
Bang
there.
Bang Niner gang. And the reason this was so easy, and it's not just that they're a 14-point favorite this week against the Cardinals. It's look at San Francisco's schedule coming up. And they also have a bye coming up. Like, I don't think we would have touched the 49ers the next 5, 6, maybe 7 weeks. So might as well use them now. That says week 3. We're actually week 4.
Right? Sorry, I'll change it. Yep. Might be without Debo.
Who cares?
It's questionable, but I should be an easy win.
My take on it, too, is just there's no way the Cardinals are beating the Cowboys and 49ers in back-to-back weeks as 12 to 14-point underdogs. Like, the chances of that are so slim, and I try not to overthink Survivor. We
you
flirted
just can't
with
overthink this one.
Yeah, just survive. Literally the name of the
Seahawks
game.
last week. That was, it was a one-possession game at one point in the fourth quarter, but never really in doubt. I didn't think anyway.
And we're still in decent shape as far as the teams we've taken and who we have left.
Who have we taken?
We took the Bills. We took the
Seahawks.
Bills, Seahawks, now the 49ers. Who's the other team we took?
Who did we take in week 1?
The Commanders? I'll go back and look.
Yeah, Matt, go back and look. We'll do our Circa millions here as far as our picks go. We're 7-7-1.
No, we're not. We have 2 ties. Remember?
Yeah, Matt's got our record screwed up.
What in the hell, Matt?
No,
See, this is what I'm saying.
Circa did not have anybody with 2 ties.
No, I went. You were wrong. You were wrong. I went in and looked at the actual standings. So
what are we?
Send me the right one.
I sent it to you earlier this week.
So we're
Chris.
6-7-2, right?
Yes.
Okay, but we have had back-to-back winning weeks. We had a tough start, 1-4 start, but back-to-back winning weeks, and away we go.
We're gonna take the Rams +1 this week. Where are they at again? I gotta pull this thing up.
The LA Rams are, God damn it!
Here, the Vikings are at Carolina.
Pathetic. This is a pathetic showing by us.
The Vikings are -4 at Carolina. Bryce Young is back. We're just banking on the Vikings not being as bad as they are because of all these
Vikings
turnovers.
are going to win a game. They're going to
and
win
this
this
thing
game.
has to even out at some point, right?
Let's just hope they win it by more than 3.
Well, and I hate the Vikings. That's the thing. Like, they're my favorite team, and I hate their guts. And if I keep betting on them, like, because normally I bet against them.
Van Wink, who are the Rams playing?
We've got the Jags over the Falcons at -3. I'll pull it up. I have all of them in front of me right now. We have the
Rams
Bills
at the Colts.
Colts, that's right, yeah.
We've got
Anthony
the Colts
Richardson was still in concussion protocol. As
yeah,
of
and the Colts are they're inflated now because they've won some of these games, so it's a good value to jump on the Rams at this point as a 1-point underdog. We're going with the Jags -3. This was one of your picks.
I love this one. I love the Jags -3 over there in London.
And they're good in London, too. They have like this great record because they always get placed over there because their fan base sucks.
I think you're wrong on that, but
no, they do. I heard it this week.
I think you heard wrong. I'm pretty sure they have a losing record over there, but they've been terrible, so it makes sense.
I'm all about the number. I don't care if they win the game. I'm all about
you're talking about how they are against the spread.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
Well, look at Van Wink, real time, updating the record, 6-7-2. Here we go. See, this is the Van Wink that we know and love. You know,
we've got the Bills -3. We are fading the hot team, the Dolphins, that everybody's going to be on.
Yeah, you're coming off 70 points. Bills are just kind of under the radar after they lost week 1. They've been really good the last 2 weeks. They just killed the Commanders last week. I think this is a statement game for them.
Eagles coming back home. They look really good right now. We're taking them -8 over the Commanders. We have too many favorites. You know me, I like to play the underdogs. I don't like having 4 favorites, but that's what we ended up on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get after it. I kind of wanted to go ugly this week. I could see this week where, like, you know, like the Jets, like the Chiefs have had, like, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, you know, all that shit going on.
I was really hoping we would get through. We got through
Mahomes'
an hour and 4 minutes without mentioning Taylor Swift.
I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not a Swiftie.
I'm so sick of it.
I wanted to take the Bears at plus 3.5 just to really live dangerously.
No. I
just really let it all hang out.
I mean, that is living dangerously. But you really want to ride with the Bears, all the negative energy that's going to be in that stadium?
You're right. One bad thing happens and everybody's booing their team. Well, there you go.
Yes.
There's our Circa million plays for the week.
Luke,
well, when
must
you
have
head to
missed
Durham,
the start of
so
the
you
show because Luke's asking why I have the cold brew this morning. It's the wife is gone.
Are you flying to Raleigh or Charlotte?
I'm flying to Raleigh, and then it's about 15 minutes from there.
Yeah, nice.
I'd never been.
I've been to Raleigh. I've been in that area, but I've never been to actual Durham. It is crazy how close all those schools are. Like it
is, yeah.
It's hard to really fathom
Old
until you've been in the
Tobacco
area.
Road.
And then Wake Forest is just up the road too. They're not that far away.
Well, Winston-Salem, they are far away.
Well, a couple
Sorry to
hours.
break it to you. Van Wink, why don't you pull up the map of North Carolina and show our good friend Chris here how
It's
far
not that
away
far.
Wake Forest is from Raleigh and Tobacco Road. See how fast
Tyler,
we can get
the
this.
Bears are not -3. It's plus 3.5.
Yeah,
Don't call
plus
the
3.
pick
All right, there we go.
dumb
Zoom
when
in
you don't
there,
even
Van
know the
Wink.
facts.
Zoom in there, Van Wink. Okay, you got Raleigh over there on the right. Okay? You got Raleigh on the right, and then you got to drive through. You got to go up through Durham, and then go over through Greensboro, and then way on the left. Keep going, keep going. There's Winston-Salem, way on the left there. It's
Yeah,
not
that
really
far.
close, you idiot.
Greensboro's a terrible town.
I
I'll
cannot
never go back
wait
there.
to go back and look at the tape of you picking your eyelash and smelling it earlier. My mom sent me a text. She said, maybe he just likes smelling things. Like smelling a cup before you pour something in it. I do that.
Thank you, Chris's
My mom smells her cup before she pours it. Just to make sure, like, I don't know, if someone didn't have any placenta in there and didn't wash it.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Listen to Chris on Saturday night. Probably won't have much of an Iowa audience. Sorry to tell you, fellow, with the Hawks and the Clones playing at the
Yeah, I
same
know.
time.
My dad was like, yeah, I listen to you all the time, but I'm probably not going to have you up on the TV with the Iowa playing Michigan State. How poor NBC. My God. Last week they get Notre Dame, Ohio State. This week it's Michigan State at Iowa for the NBC night game. Jesus. Oh.
Appreciate you all watching live, listening on the Iowa Everywhere podcast. We've got legends and listeners that'll be posted later today as well.
All right, let's go.
Have a great weekend.